All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Run! Go! Get to the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
Podcast.
and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Podcast. Let's get to the podcast with the number 2. My name is Tiago de Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And I'm going to start off this podcast by saying I possibly, kind of likely, most might have been wrong about a certain director.
Oh, you said you were wrong?
I don't remember exactly saying that I didn't think this person was the quality material. But I will say, if I did say that,
I'm curious as to what changed because
I have done major reading upon this person's life.
Yes. So what you're talking about is...
you can't change your
Wait. Yes, I can. If you learn more information, you can change your opinion. Of course
you can't change your
Yes, I
opinion
can.
about a director based
Yes, I
on
can.
like their
Yes, I can.
life.
Yes, I can.
It's only
No,
based
no.
on the films.
It's
Even if
it's
they're an
based
amazing,
on,
if they're
based on their
Jesus,
approach.
Yes.
if they're Jesus
Yes.
and like
No.
you know, if James Cameron was Jesus, like if his films are garbage, his films are garbage. He's a bad director.
So
Even if
if
he's
you-
Jesus.
if
You call
you-
Jesus a bad director?
No, he might be right now the way this world's going. But my thing is,
we're talking-
You can.
we're-
No, hey, don't.
You haven't even mentioned...
I know
You're
that's
still doing a
that's
thing?
the whole point.
We're going to do a 20-minute thing? Go ahead.
But
do
I
it,
got
do it.
inter-
Do your
interrupted.
Thing. Do your thing.
if you can do these things,
it's
I can do tangents.
it's the long episode to the end effect, which is Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can. Because you can watch a film and it wasn't that great, but then you can read about the film and how much it went to it and how much it was invested into it, and understand why the film wasn't great, but understand, like, you read the script and you see the original the original way they wanted it to be and how they saw it before it was made, and you can say, oh wow, this actually can be a great film. It just didn't work out. So you can change your opinion about a director and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
but I just, because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is coming out.
Yeah.
I really, and a lot
Or
of the time,
came, by the time this episode drops, I think it would have already come out, I think.
yeah, it's coming out this week or next.
I think it
Within
just
this
came out.
region,
Yes.
it's out or not.
Yeah.
I really dove in and read more about Quentin Tarantino, how he makes his film,
His
and
approach to film.
his approach to film, how much he invests in, and how delicately he takes his time in writing and composing every part of his film. It does make him a master at this art.
Right, because we did an episode before, is Quentin Tarantino a master director? We did it a couple years ago, I think. And you two were saying he wasn't. And I was
this-
sitting
I'm
here
not
arguing.
confirming or denying
Was this
that.
before Hateful Eight
but-
came out or after?
It was after.
Okay.
Yes, which is surprising because you love Hateful Eight. But anyways, I was
I
sitting
actually
there.
love it more now. I loved it when we saw it in the
Yeah.
theater. I saw the road show.
Yeah, the 70 millimeter.
Did you watch that
show.
4-piece
70 millimeter?
episode on Netflix?
So I watched that, and I actually like that movie even more now. Even though there's like not a ton of shit, there's like maybe, well, I should say there's actually maybe like at least an extra half hour, 45 minutes
Wow.
between.
So crazy.
It's broken up into 4 hour or
Yeah.
4
It's like a
1 hour
4-part series.
episodes. Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm
I mean, that
watch it.
might be one of my favorite. It's like it's probably in my top 20 films.
Wow.
Like that's how much I like that movie.
And that's a modern film. You
And
just
I-
put a modern film in your top 20. Like,
It's
that
such a-
doesn't happen.
But it's funny because it's like it's,
For us, that doesn't
it's,
happen.
it's a period piece, so it's like this weird. It feels like I'm watching an old spaghetti western, but like better.
right.
Than a spaghetti
Better
western.
quality, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody in it's great. Samuel Jackson's great. Kurt Russell's great.
The pacing is perfect.
The pacing, the music. Ennio Morricone is like
Yeah.
he's like
it was
nailed the
perfectly done
music.
classically.
Yeah.
And
And
it's-
the way it's shot, it's just like every time I watch it, I'm like, I just
Right.
love the way it's shot.
And that's why I'm like, that is a perfect example. And that was his most recent film, which just means he's gotten better. And that was my point when we were doing that episode. I was like, how am I the only one saying that? Like, why am I arguing this point as like a solo guy? I didn't understand it. I was like, The guy's a master director. You guys were like, eh.
I think it was like we were looking at the earlier films.
No, I don't know. I don't think we were
together
so against it. I don't remember being so against him being a master. I remember us having a huge talk in the differences of what he creates and what other people create.
Yeah.
That have given them that pedestal that he hadn't had.
Yeah, because you guys were making the argument that it wasn't all wholly original and it was, too homage heavy and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's not fair to say because if it's as simple as that. Master
director is a misnomer, though, I still think.
I was saying, is he a master? I think the guy's a master. I
art.
said that word. That's the reason we did the episode. The reason we did the episode
is he a master in his art?
Yeah, the reason I did the episode.
Do you think Spielberg's a master?
Yeah. So I said.
Do you think Kubrick's a master?
Yes.
You think Nolan's a master?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then he's a master.
Okay, come on.
I'm like, when you say master,
who's a master?
That's
who's the master?
Who's the master? I'm the master.
You love that movie. Last Dragon.
Oh, yes.
I showed him that finally, and he was like, "This."
Did
is
he
the
finally watch it?
Show enough.
He finally saw it, and he was like, "This is amazing. I gotta
It's
buy
great.
this."
The Last Dragon.
Last Dragon's basically Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
before
yes.
he became white.
It was produced by Gordy.
You
Yeah, Barry
remember
Gordy.
that?
Yeah, Barry
I was like, I can't believe you.
I'm obsessed
have
with that
never
song
seen
now.
film.
The song,
Feel
Feel the Rhythm of the Night.
Of the night. Dancing to the morning light. Forget about the worries on your mind.
It was
You
also
can
in
leave
San
them all
Junipero.
behind. It
right?
was.
Yeah.
Leroy.
You
Bruce Leroy.
Bruce Leroy.
Bruce Leroy.
Oh my God.
Oh, so good.
It is actually like I was
It's a
expecting
great
it to be
film.
like super hokey, and it's like better than hokey.
It stands its time.
It's
It
something
does,
about
yeah.
it that's just infectious.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's called The Last Dragon. It's a great film. Everybody should watch it. Go watch it right now. Fuck the podcast. Just
Go
go.
watch the
Fuck
last.
Tarantino.
What do we watch?
No,
It's
I
on
didn't see
Amazon or something. Amazon Prime.
Do I own it? Yeah. We
I
watched
think
it on
we
Prime
watched- it
or
was on
streaming.
Prime.
It may have been streaming somewhere at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Anyways, but Tarantino. So my point was, the guy is a master. Like, it's not enough to say. There's this lazy argument that goes around. Some people were like, "Oh, he's just ripping off everything." I'm like, that is not what those films are. There's a difference between homage and copying or ripping off something, right? If it was as simple as that, any of us can go and rip off some movies and go and do it.
Some of the best
No,
directors in the
he's-
world just got like bid on somebody's
Copy
book
paste,
and
yeah.
then do a film adaptation of it. Like
Exactly.
Spielberg, like almost all of his films are that way.
Yeah.
I don't think he's written
No,
anything.
yeah. Spielberg's not a big writer, but he not a lot of his things are books. They're original materials and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
but they're not necessarily written
Indiana
by
Jones.
him. He's a producer and a director.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, exactly. So, but Tarantino.
It's a lazy argument. You're
Right, it is a lazy argument because Tarantino is one of those guys who masterfully crafts his films, and he is a writer-director. He's one of those auteur directors, the guy who the entire vision is his from inception to the end, and he takes it from like that's not necessarily everybody doesn't
You
necessarily
got to
do
thank
that.
that Weinstein guy for giving Tarantino all that money to make these movies that you love.
Weinstein. Even
What was his name?
said-
Harvey.
Weinstein.
Harvey.
What was his
Harvey
name?
Weinstein.
Harvey. Like
Your buddy.
my buddy. No.
Oh,
Somebody's
man.
gonna take this out of
Is he in jail?
context.
Is he in jail yet?
No,
No,
he's still in court. No, he's still in trial.
He's getting out. That whole thing's falling apart.
No,
Do you think him and R. Kelly are gonna be cellmates?
No.
I don't
Is R.
know.
Kelly going to jail?
he was just arrested by the FBI now.
Was he?
On federal charges? Yeah.
Yeah, but Harvey's
could
thing,
you
I
see
feel
it now?
like he had like a cell phone or so. I can't keep track.
I know
There's
it.
too many of these celebrities that are, and I can't keep track. But there was something I read where it was like the case was falling apart.
I heard something about that, and I think they were. I don't know. I don't.
So it looks like he
Track
might
this
just
stuff,
like
yeah.
walk free or whatever.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's back it up to Tarantino.
And then
I
go give
believe
Tarantino some
I'm
more
in
money.
jail.
Where's Tarantino getting his money now?
Sony. There was a huge
Sony.
bidding war on his stuff, and every major studio was bidding, and Sony won the bid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they all had to come to his office and read the script for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to bid on it, and Sony won the bid. But yeah, so
TriStar? Is that TriStar?
Columbia.
Yeah, Columbia.
TriStar
Pictures.
Columbia? Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so the way in which he crafts his films is very interesting because he does spend years on each one.
Yeah.
Right? He spends years writing these things. He wrote Inglourious Bastards. He first came up and
6
started
years?
crafting that thing. No, longer. He started crafting that thing in the 90s. It came out in 2009. Like, this is how the guy literally spends years just getting it right, trying to feel it out, listening to records that inspire him about that thing, doing research, watching all the movies in that genre.
I need to watch that again because I
Yes.
feel like for me that movie,
I haven't.
other than the opening,
Yeah.
the opening sequence and like just God, what's his name? The main
Brad
the
Pitt?
Jew hunter.
Brad Pitt or Eli Roth, Bear Jew? Which
No,
one?
the Jew.
No, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, you're talking about Jew
Killer
Hunter.
or
Oh, right,
whatever.
Christoph Waltz. Yeah.
Christoph Waltz, yeah.
The opening scene.
His performance
Yeah,
and the
it's
dialogue for his character is incredible. The rest of that movie I just don't care for.
Oh, it's great.
Weird. Like the
What?
other characters did not like Brad Pitt, Eli Roth, the guy from The Office, like all of those
Redo
guys.
back, yeah.
I'm like, I feel like they
What
were all
about Shoshana?
miscast.
Shoshana, the French girl, the ran the projection.
She was good.
Yeah, she was
She
great.
was good.
And the guy who's the Nazi who's trying to court her and everything.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on
I
in the
feel
movie.
like they
You know
should
what
have
I think
not
about
had
Quentin
Pitt and
Tarantino?
those other guys
I
in
just-
it, and they just should have just brought like some unknowns or something.
Oh, I
feel
thought
like
it
would
would-
have been a better film.
I
know-
feel like you probably should rewatch it.
Bringing that.
I need to because
You should. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should.
Fassbender's
great-
in it.
And
I like
Michael
Django
Fassbender?
a lot more.
Yeah,
Yeah, Fassbender. I do remember.
Yeah.
He's in that scene
Think-
where they're in the bar or whatever.
that's right.
thinking about you bringing that film up and thinking about that whole film. I have it. I love that film. And a lot of his other films. I think one of the biggest difference between Quentin Tarantino and a lot of other movies is that you usually in a film get one big payoff.
Yeah.
And with Quentin Tarantino, there's usually about 2, 3, or 4 payoffs throughout
of
the
shit
film.
going on.
It's usually
Yeah.
a path to a setup, and then something major goes down, which initiates the next part of the film, and then it's a path to another setup, and there's boom, the big situation goes down, and until the end where it's like multiple arc stories within one whole film, and a lot of films don't do that. It's usually one arc.
Wow.
And
the
what's
major
interesting-
Common
story.
denominator
And-
films like don't do that, like Fast and Furious or something.
Right, but
Yeah.
but what's so interesting is that Tarantino is teeming with creativity, right? So he if you listen to him talking about these movies and crafting these movies, especially when they're coming out, you listen to these podcast interviews with him or anything else he has, like long form interviews with him, he'll be talking about all these other scenes that he just never ended up filming because he was like writing them, or he'd rewrite a whole thing and it'd be a whole giant thing because he writes his screenplays like novels. Like he believes in writing a screenplay more than just a blueprint from the film. He's like, I want it to be a movie. I want it to stand on its own as a piece of literature. People don't do that with screenplays.
Yeah.
Like there's like almost nobody that does that with screenplays.
He writes it
He's
by
gonna-
hand too, right?
Yeah, he's not a typist,
not a
so
typist,
he
yeah.
will do it. But he, it's fucking crazy. But he's very old school and all that stuff. But he would literally be like on Inglourious Bastards, he was like, there were so many. He was explaining all these different scenes that he had to change, and he explained what they originally were and what they did. He's like, got to the point where there were too many climaxes. He was like, there was too much going on at the end. There was too many things. Like this was boom, 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 boom. And he's like, it actually ended up being too much. He's like, and originally Hitler, who at the end gets riddled with bullets, was supposed to blow up in this thing, and then somebody else was supposed to die in this thing. And that person was supposed to get killed over here. And this, he's like, this isn't working. He goes, and there was something about just Hitler just getting blown up didn't sit right. He's like, you needed an intimate death for that guy. You needed the guy to get shot. Like he needed, and they shoot the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And it's the Bear Jew who does it, right? It's
Which one
Eli
was that?
Roth. Eli Roth.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was the one with like bat or something.
Yeah, exactly. He's the one because it's personal for him. It's like really like this. Ugh. So he's the one who gets in. He just shoots him full of holes and just doesn't stop. And it's like Hitler just sitting here getting like blown to shreds with like a Tommy gun or whatever it is. And there is this thing where it's just like Tarantino's films are just so well thought out, every scene. And because he's the writer and the director, he's really crafting everything. And he's really going, okay, does this work? Does this work? Does that work? And he's the kind of writer who's like, the characters tell me what to do. So I form and flesh out this character, and I create this character, and then I put them in the movie, and then I let them start going, start talking, and start doing a thing. I don't know who's going to live and who's going to die. When he's writing the thing, that's what he says. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen to any of these characters, because he's not a big outliner. He's not one of those guys who frames the movie and then writes it. He doesn't figure it out. He just writes it as it goes.
Now I remember what my argument was before.
Yeah.
It was that lack of a. I don't know. I felt just watching all of his films that there is a lack of like some sort of a. I don't get a particularly strong emotional response from his films, even though a lot of his films I really enjoy watching.
Right.
there isn't like that kind of. I feel like there isn't that like
yeah, that's
like
right. Your
emotional
argument was
connection.
You need
their
that dramatic, emotional.
Yeah, like if I watch
their leave behind
E.T.
films.
Yeah.
or Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or
Right.
I'm trying to think of Schindler's
His
List or
movies aren't
something.
like that. Yeah, they're not about that.
I haven't like those films. I'll connect with,
Yeah.
and there'll be like an emotional connection, and I don't get that like emotional arc from him.
Right.
But I'm like still interested
Invested.
and like invested, and I'm like on the edge of my
Entertainment.
seat and
Yeah.
entertained. Definitely.
Right.
Like he's a master at that, but
Right.
he just like has chosen. I mean, I will say in Inglourious Bastards, that's that opening scene, that whole monologue where he's talking to the guy and everybody's hiding underneath, and you're like all that anticipation, like that does because of the context,
Yes.
because it's like World War II and
Yeah.
the Nazis and all that going after the Jews and all this. So like that, but I feel like it was that, like that's what if it was like any other situation.
Yeah.
It was like a more of an unknown and some other war that
Well, how about Kill Bill? Like when she's, there's like the scene where she's in the thing and she's pregnant and he shot her and she's
I
dying.
don't know. It
or
didn't.
when she
It
goes
was just
after her daughter.
gratuitous. Like it just felt like I didn't connect. It just felt
Yeah,
when she's pregnant or whatever.
Yeah,
and-
yeah. Or when she even
Oh
finds
my
her
God,
daughter.
yeah, when she was in that hospital.
Yeah,
in a coma.
oh my God, Jesus Christ.
I was like, ugh.
Yeah, and I mean, so I'm like, there is tense moments and tense stuff, but like in terms of that,
they're
like
almost
make
like
something
just
make you
uncomfortable.
griefy. You don't make it griefy. He's not a guy who makes you feel grief.
Yeah.
Particularly. Like that's not his. I don't think he's.
It's
going
not just
for
that. It's like when his characters die, it's like I don't know. It's like you don't. And not that you don't care, but you don't. There's no connection. Like
No, I
you
get
don't.
it.
You don't build enough. Like when you think E.T. is dead.
Yeah.
This character like that basically doesn't say anything. He's just like garbled alien shit.
it's a
and
different
then
thing.
like he dies, and as you know, when you're watching this movie, like you give a shit that this little fucker died,
Yeah.
even though you know what I mean. Like that's like.
But
Like it's
that's-
not a
it's a different
griefiness.
thing.
It's like you build all this like affinity for the character, and then there's the loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they bring it back.
It's
Whatever.
a very specific type of
He
movie
doesn't
though
do
you're
that.
talking about. Right. That's a very that's a
But
Spielberg
that's what
thing.
I'm saying. Like,
That's
how
a
can he be?
Spielberg
That was
thing.
my argument. How could he be a master if he can't even do that?
Kubrick never did that. Name one Kubrick movie that you felt that. Even The Shining. Like none of these movies. It's not about that. Not every person's about that. I'm not even sure.
I don't know, man. But Kubrick did something different. It was similar, like where you cared about the character and the scenario. Like Clockwork Orange has like some weird. There's like weird emotion mixed in that because that movie's kind of like a roller coaster of like what the fuck, these guys were like crazy criminals and then all this crazy shit happens to them and then all the experimentation and stuff that gets
But
done.
I don't think you feel that kind of like ET connection with
Yeah,
any
you
of
don't.
those
You're not like you
characters.
don't care for these
Hey, it's
characters,
raping
but you
ET
like.
over there. It's
Yeah, majority of Quentin Tarantino films are really about the payoff.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not that it's not that it's not based on characters.
his movies are just
But it's
cool.
almost like
they're
I think
just
Pulp Fiction
payoffs.
came out, and then like people, it was so different. I guess at the time it was very different, and now people when they watch his films, kind of like expect twists and turns and like things to come out of left field and
Right.
surprises. He's like a Shyamalan, but like these aren't mysteries.
Yes.
They're action films with like where they're
Hateful Eight was
they're
a
fucking
mystery.
twists. Like Hateful Eight, you get all the way to the end of that movie and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like and then he does anyway. It's just I love the way it's structured. I love
Masterful.
chapter 1. I love that there's a part of that film where he starts talking. The director, is it him? Isn't it
It's
Tarantino?
Tarantino, yeah.
He starts talking and describing what happened, but when you weren't looking, like there's this
Right.
thing where the chapter ends and then the next chapter starts and
Oh, I
he's
have to
doing a
rewatch
monologue.
that. Yeah, I gotta rewatch that.
He does the monologue and he's like, so when you were looking at blah blah blah,
Yeah.
this character over here was doing this, and then you see him like pour the poison in the thing, and then that's when they're like coughing up all the blood. Like it's just great. It's just a crazy movie. It's like you don't expect Tarantino to come on and be a voiceover in that film,
and it's masterful. Like you watch that movie, Hateful Eight. That is a masterfully executed film, and that is his most recent film up until this new one, right? So
Yeah.
that they're talking about.
You're right.
That's
I
his
love it. I love
yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
I don't have a particularly emotional connection to it, but I can watch it over and over.
That's
and
what I'm saying.
over again.
Not everyone
Yeah.
needs that kind of emotional connection you're talking about, right? Like
Yeah.
Murder on the Orient Express. You don't need to. You don't need to have that thing. Just to enjoy it. It's an entertaining movie. And that is, at the end of the day, Tarantino films are just strictly entertainment. Like they are. They're not Spielberg. They're not trying to go
I
on.
know this new film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like the reviews that are coming out sound like they're like, this is his best film, and this is like one of the best movies
That's
ever made.
unbelievable.
And I'm like, how can you say this is one of the best movies ever made?
Right.
Like
It's crazy.
that's a leap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, when
I
was the
mean-
last time a movie came out where
That's an
any
individual-
critic was like, "That's the best, one of the best movies ever made"?
You can't listen to stuff like that.
in the
There's no such
last
thing. Yeah,
20 years or
I know.
whatever.
That's pretty crazy though.
That is crazy to say that about any film that comes
Yeah.
out these days.
Yeah, but his films are on that level where you're like, you're gonna get a good film. Like, there's just certain people you trust, Nolan, Tarantino. There's ones you just go, yes, like that person's going to deliver.
It is true. I haven't really run into many critics that shit on Tarantino. I feel like I haven't read articles where like, "Oh, his movies are garbage."
No, that's
But I've had
very rare.
People have shit on like Nolan.
Yeah, but like for the majority, there's like a consensus. Like, no, there's no 100% on anything.
I don't shit on Nolan.
But there's a consensus.
Why are you pointing? I never shit on Nolan. I just don't
Inception
really-
guy over here.
His films just never really my style.
Yeah. So, but there's a difference between, there's not 100%,
fucker.
but there's a general consensus that Nolan's great and Tarantino's great.
Yeah.
Right. But this new one, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which hopefully by the time this drops, if the movie's already out, which I think it is, I'll have seen it in theaters. Like, I'm seeing it opening weekend. That's definitely his films are best experience in the theaters because he does
I
make
think
them
so,
for the
yeah.
theater experience.
Did you see Grindhouse? Did you guys either?
I
both
did
see
not
it?
see that
did.
in theaters. It's actually the only
You
one
did?
in the last 20 years I didn't see in theaters of his.
Did you see the double feature?
Yes, I saw the double feature.
Awesome.
Yeah, I didn't
so
see-
good. It was such a cool experience,
Yeah.
too. Dude, you should have saw it, man.
I missed it. I
I went with my sister.
Are you
and
asking in
It
theaters?
was like 5
In
hours.
theaters.
Oh no, I didn't see it in theater. I
Oh,
saw
all right. I saw it up at not far from here actually. And it was like a 5-hour experience. Like it
I
was
can-
Death
honestly-
Proof, and then all the like trailers and the intermission. There were like all the fake trailers. There were like a lot of fake trailers. And then wait, was Planet Terror first? Maybe Planet Terror was first.
I thought that was second.
I can't remember.
I thought Planet Terror was second.
One of them. Yeah, I think maybe that was second. Yeah. And
Grind,
it's just
Death Proof.
it was called Grindhouse. Was the double feature?
Was the name
And
of the
then
overall
Tarantino
thing.
directed Death Proof, and
Robert
Robert
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez did Planet Terror. They're both fantastic.
Right. Yeah,
I can honestly
I
say
do
I
like
haven't
Death
seen
Proof.
any of
Death
his
Proof is
films.
definitely the quote unquote
But
weakest
you haven't
of
seen
his
Planet
films.
Terror yet.
No, I still haven't.
This fucking
But
guy.
all right, man, you need to calm your ass down. But Death Proof is, it's definitely the quote unquote weakest of his films, but it's also his great film. He even said that actually. He's like, that's probably the weakest of my films, and that's a good weak point. Like, that's a great movie compared to other movies. It's a
I don't know why people would consider it weak. It's
No.
an homage to that type of film.
compared to his other films. You're just only, you're not comparing it to. If you compare it to other things, it's great. If you're comparing it to Tarantino, it's not his best.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that is a great movie, and that's what he said. That's why he's like, if that's my weakest movie, great. Like he's like, that's a good weak movie to have.
Yeah.
Like as your weakest movie.
What was his first film?
Reservoir Dogs, which
Okay.
is you've seen that, right?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
Okay. That movie is so goddamn good. Like, it even holds up today. You watch it and be like, Jesus, because it's an indie film. It really is like, this is Tarantino indie. Like, he he made it for like a couple $100,000, that movie. And he made it with one location, basically, and all these actors. And that whole thing, just the way it all fucking plays out and the conversations and the insanity of it. And it's a heist movie that doesn't show the heist.
Who steals the money at the end? Oh, Steve Buscemi, Mr. Pink.
Yeah, Mr.
He
Pink,
gets,
the
he gets
diamonds.
the money or the diamonds, or
diamonds,
whatever,
yeah.
and like flees at the end.
Yeah. But the whole point is that's a heist movie that never shows the heist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's so great
There are
about it.
scenes
It's
where they
all-
show him like driving around, like scouting the location.
Yeah, scouting the
and all that.
location. They show Steve Buscemi,
fleeing.
Mr. Pink running with the bag of diamonds, shooting at the cops.
Yeah.
All of them fleeing. Yeah, Mr. Orange and Mr. White, in the car, and Mr. Brown dying, and Mr. Blue. Like, it does show all that.
That was Mr. Brown's like Mr. Shit.
Yeah, he's like, he's better than Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown sounds like Mr.
Yeah,
Shit.
Mr. White.
Yeah,
Mr.
you want to be
Orange,
Mr. Pink? It's like Mr. Pussy.
Mr. White, Mr.
White,
Orange,
White,
Mr. Blonde.
Mr. Blonde is
Mr.
Michael
Pink,
Madsen. Mr. Pink is
Mr.
Steve Buscemi.
Blue,
Mr. Blue
and Mr.
is
Brown.
is what's his face?
No, it's
Old
just
guy.
God, what's his name? Who was the standout in that for me? I mean, they're all great.
Mr.
but-
Brown,
Buscemi?
which was Quentin Tarantino.
No, the undercover.
Tim Roth.
Tim Roth.
Mr.
yeah.
I didn't even know. I totally forgot he
He was
was in it.
British.
Who? Tim Roth.
No, Quentin.
Quentin's Mr. Brown. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Mr. Brown, yeah, I totally
He
forgot.
wanted to be, I think, Mr. Pink, and then Steve Buscemi came along. He's like, oh fuck, I got to make him Mr. Pink now.
Yeah.
Because Tarantino was an actor. He wanted to be Mr. Pink.
Yeah, Tarantino's been in a couple films. I mean,
Yeah.
he was in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yep.
Which was Robert Rodriguez.
Yep. He was an actor before he was a director.
Yeah.
Yeah. True Romance was the first
Yeah,
script he ever wrote.
He was in True Romance?
He may show up. I don't
Oh,
know
no,
that he
he was
showed
in
up in it, but
There was another movie I saw him in. It was
4 Rooms he was in.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh man, you gotta watch that.
From
Holy
Dusk Till
shit.
Dawn.
From Dusk Till
That's
Dawn.
the
No, it
moment.
wasn't from Dusk Till Dawn. That's
He was
the
in
one I mentioned,
Django. I
but-
mean, he was in his own film.
No, this is like an earlier weird movie in like Las Vegas where it's like couple are in love
Yeah,
and like they jump into like some wormhole in the pool or some shit.
sounds really familiar. Yeah.
It was a weird fucking movie.
And he was young in it. Yeah. He was young,
I was like,
So
so
he was
Quentin Tarantino. What the fuck? He
Yeah,
played
his-
like the devil or something. Or,
yeah. That's
I
right.
don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So he was the first. His first script he ever wrote was True Romance. Can you believe that? It's his
That's
first
crazy.
script. I mean, the guy doesn't.
I have to watch that again. It's been a long time since
Good
I've
movie.
seen that.
Good
but
fucking movie.
I
Good
remember it
movie.
being really good.
Yeah, it was
Guys
really-
talking to Elvis the whole time.
Not quite, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. But anyway, so Tarantino, what was it? It was Reservoir Dogs. Like that movie is incredible because, like I said, it's a movie about a heist but they never show the heist. Like it's like all this. He just takes a different approach.
the
to all his
opposite of Heat.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Which is like
Yeah, and then he follows it up with Pulp Fiction, which is so out of order it shouldn't work, and it totally fucking works.
Yeah.
You know, this is only his second movie. You know, and that movie literally was like Reservoir Dogs. People were like, "Wow, this guy's amazing," and then Pulp Fiction comes out and like, "This guy's incredible." Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like case closed. And then he follows.
I didn't like Pulp Fiction when I saw it as a kid.
You like it now?
I like it now. It's
great.
I
Great
just
movie.
don't think I got it, and it was just too gratuitous or something. I was like, "Oh, that movie's disgusting." Blah
Yeah.
blah. I don't understand.
Everybody remembers that scene when they
That's
stuck
like
that needle in
in
that
her
girl's
heart,
chest.
the
Oh
adrenaline.
my!
That
Adrenaline.
didn't bother me. It was the scene with the knight or the samurai sword at the end where he's like, "Looks like spiders got themselves
Double
some flies," or whatever.
Bring
And
out
it
the
was-
gimp. The gimp
Yeah,
sleeping.
the gimp thing.
Well, then I
and-
think you're gonna have to wake him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
that
they-
whole scene, like I was like not exposed to any of that.
When
So
he-
I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like people do this? This is a real world. This is
When he
like a
butt
real
fucks,
thing?
when he
sorry.
butt fucks Marcellus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
That's
And then
basically
but then
what
he
happened.
takes the samurai sword and like chops him up or whatever.
I'm gonna go medieval in his ass.
I'm gonna go medieval on his ass.
Big Rames. That's a great movie, and there's just so much going on in that movie. It's fantastic. It's funny. It's crazy. It's like
That was like John Travolta's like comeback.
comeback.
film.
Yeah, it was his comeback, and then that
Bruce
launched.
Willis is in it.
Bruce
and
Willis
Yeah.
and Samuel Jackson. I mean, that
was
Ezekiel 25:17. You know, the path of the righteous
he
is
get-
beset on all
who got
sides. of
nominated?
iniquity. He got nominated.
Jackson.
Jackson, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That movie's incredible. Then he followed it up with Jackie Brown, which is
I'm
underrated.
sorry. Did I break your motherfucking concentration?
I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration? When he shoots the guy. so good. But then he follows it up with Jackie Brown, which is
Yeah.
Pam Grier. That movie's so good. Like that's an underrated movie. Robert De Niro, Bridget Fonda, Samuel Jackson comes back. There's crazy shit going on in that movie, based off an Elmore Leonard book, which is the same guy who did Get Shorty. That incredible. And then he does. I think Death Proof was next, and then he comes back.
Really,
with,
Death Proof was after Jackie Brown?
Yeah, I think Death Proof was
No,
in between.
Kill Bill
was 04. I thought Death Proof was
No, Death
2001.
Proof was after Kill Bill.
Okay, fine. So that's right. He didn't do anything for like 7 years. Look that up. Make sure that's true. So he didn't.
I'm almost 100%.
Okay, fine. That's fine. I think you're right. I think there was actually 7 years between his two movies, which was Jackie Brown and then Kill Bill Volume 1. And then he
So it's
comes
Jackie
back-
Brown is 2000. I'm sorry,
97.
Jackie Brown 97, and then 2003 was Kill Bill.
Kill
1.
Bill 03, and then
One-
04 was one. It was 2.
04 was 2.
Yeah.
And then
2007 was Death Proof, right?
2007.
2007, yeah.
Yeah.
he's special
That's
guest director for Sin City in 2005.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't count. That's count. But
Then it goes up to Grindhouse in 2007.
that's right. So
And Death Proof, sorry.
Yeah, so then he does Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, which was holy shit. Like, this guy had just done the crime movies up until then, right? So we're like, yeah, he's good at doing the black tie, white shirt, crime movies. The guys who are like, scofflaws. They don't give a shit about anything. They're crazy. And then he comes out with Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, flips it, totally different genre. He's doing these action films now, crazy sequences.
Like
And I was like,
Michael Madsen and Harvey Keitel didn't have to do anything anymore. They're like, oh, we'll just be in Tarantino films for the rest of our lives.
yeah. Yeah, but that movie,
And
I
Tim
literally,
Roth.
yeah. I mean, they were all kind of like coming and going and different. They weren't in all of them, but Samuel Jackson was pretty much in all the films. But I was just like,
Yeah, that's
what am I watching? When I was watching, did you see Kill Bill in theaters?
Yes.
I was like,
I love both of them. I was like, I found the reason I was even interested or gave a shit, because I wasn't a big Tarantino guy, was I found out the same guy who did the stunt choreography for The Matrix was doing this,
yeah.
and I was like, I need to see this.
Yeah.
And I was just like blown away by the the stunt choreography at the end when she's fighting, like chopping off arms and legs
Crazy
and all that
88,
shit.
the Crazy 88.
I was like, this is fucking
That's
crazy.
at the end of the first. Yeah, and then when she's training, and I think the second one she's training or whatever, like that's insane. Like with the old dude, and he jumps on top of her sword and backflips and kicks her, and just there's so many great scenes.
What was it?
And
The weird
the chunk
or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh, the five finger of death
ding,
or whatever.
ding, ding. And they're like, it gives you a heart attack.
When she does the bill at the end, he's taught you the what is it, five finger heart explosion or whatever.
Yeah, and it's sad because he's
David
passed
Carradine,
away, but David Carradine, he was so good in that.
Yeah, he was
like
great.
He's like, you watch that movie and you're like, he's like a natural.
Yeah,
like, why haven't I
Tarantino
seen
does
guy
this
in
thing
more
where he
movies?
brings people from back in the day who aren't necessarily at the peak of their career, and he gives them these roles, and they're great. And he just knows how to get great performances. Like the actors in his film deliver. Like nobody's working on a low level because Tarantino is pulling it out of him. Like he's a great director. Jamie Foxx talked about that in Django Unchained. He was like, because he did the Kill Bill, then he did Inglourious, and then in 2012 he did Django Unchained. And Jamie Foxx talked about that. He was like, Tarantino doesn't let you get away. It's his film. Like you're not just coming in there as some A-list fucking star flaunting your swinging your dick around. This is Tarantino's film, and you stepped onto his set, and he's going to rip that performance out of your fucking body.
Yeah.
And he did. Like Jamie Foxx is incredible. Jamie Foxx hadn't been doing anything great in a little while. I mean, he'd won for Ray, but he'd kind of done some whatever films, and then all of a sudden he did Django, and he was
Olympus
working
Has
at
Fallen.
Yeah.
Was that Olympus Has
Olympus
Fallen?
No,
White
White House
Rising?
Down. White House Down.
White House Down.
Great name.
You know they got
One
a
of
third
them.
one coming
Yeah.
out, Olympus.
Yeah, it's
Really?
I forget what it's called.
Was that the one with what's his name? The Aaron
Gerard
Eckhart?
Butler.
Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler.
And Aaron
Wait.
Eckhart was the president.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one's Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
White House Down. Charming Taint Man.
Charming Taint.
So, anyway, so Django comes out, and then you got like Don Johnson showing up, and there's a plantation owner, and like there's
Mandingo.
yeah, and then there's like Leonardo DiCaprio murdering it as Calvin Candy, like
But
just
even
murdering.
You
that
know what
role.
blew me away when I saw that, because I saw it in theaters. Like what blew me away about that movie was that it's just the whole concept of the Samuel Jackson character, like being anti, like reporting the slaves,
being a racist, like being
racist,
against his own people, selling out his own people,
selling out his own people. Like his whole thing of like that reverse racism or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just like. Because you don't see that a lot portrayed. I mean, there are definitely films where they have that.
Yeah.
I think there's like a movie like a Soldier Story or something like that. Or there's some movie that's like a similar thing. But that like floored me. I was like, man, this motherfucker's crazy. Like he's the most evil character in the whole fucking movie. Is Samuel Jackson? Like
He
not
is.
not
Calvin
DiCaprio.
Candy. He's just
Like,
a shitty product of his environment kind of guy.
Samuel fucking Jackson, man, he's a monster.
Yeah. Scheming, like
the whole movie. He's like fucking Gollum,
He's
man.
so
He's like
good.
a Gollum character.
But
yeah.
he's so good.
But you wouldn't, if you didn't like really look close, you might not think that.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a victim of his times. I'm like, no, this motherfucker is evil.
Yeah, he is plotting, he's scheming, it's intentional.
He's like indoctrinated into this whole, like this is how he is.
And that movie's incredible. And Christoph Waltz's character, he won another Academy Award for that. He won an Academy Award as an actor for 2 Tarantino films in a row.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he won for Inglourious Bastards and for Django. And Django as the dentist, he was incredible
wow,
in
that's
that.
right, yeah.
And that whole scene at the end where he kind of like he has to kill this guy. Like he has to kill Calvin Candy. Like he's like, this is all so evil.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't just sit back. Because it's like this idea that he's just a German in America. And he's like, I don't agree with slavery, but I'm also not really, part of it. He's like, it was like a white guy, but he wasn't American. So he wasn't completely invested in this.
Yeah.
The whole thing was just so fucking interesting.
Yeah.
He's a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
But he's a dentist. Like, it just, every little detail you see in these movies, that whole scene with Don Johnson, it's hilarious. There's so much humor, too. He's like, so I should treat him like a white man? Like, that whole thing where he's like, no. He keeps trying to explain to the girl. He's like, he's not a white man, but he's a free slave. Like, that whole conversation.
Yeah.
It's just, the whole thing is just incredible. And I was just like, this fucking guy just does not, like, his movies just every time get me. They surprise me. They're entertaining. He's doing things I don't
He's
expect.
like
I don't
he
know what's
really
gonna
is
happen.
a master entertainer.
He is. He's a master entertainer, and he crafts these films in that way. And then he comes up with Hateful Eight, which is your favorite of them.
Yeah.
And that's like a Murder on the Orient Express kind
It
of
really
thing.
is. Yeah.
Like
the whole first like hour is just them on like in the stagecoach.
Yes.
Like and all like the running into characters on the road to the what was it called? The debauchery.
The debauchery. The haberdashery.
Haberdashery, which I didn't even know what that word meant. I didn't
First
look
time
that
I heard
shit
it
up.
was Hateful Eight.
Haberdashery.
And
the
now I
fuck
hear
is
it all
that?
the time.
Yeah.
He brought that word back.
He did bring it back, yeah. But it's just like a store. It's like where people sell shit and they have like beds where you
get
can sleep.
supplies.
It's an eBay.
Essentially, yeah, it's like a supply store back in the day. I
Yes,
guess.
yeah.
It's probably
It's the very first
And it's like
eBay.
it's a woman's
Yeah,
name.
essentially.
Minnie's
Haberdashery.
right?
Minnie's
Yeah.
haberdashery. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
Anyway.
and you don't know what the fuck's going on. And you're like, is this guy supposed to be the new sheriff in this town they're heading to? Kurt Russell has Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, and he's got to bring her to be hanged, and he's a bounty hunter. And then you got
the Lincoln letter.
the Lincoln letter.
All of that happens in that scene. Like he's like
The Lincoln letter.
Larry Todd's calling. I better no. What did he say? I better get go. You know,
I
better get
call,
going.
yeah.
And that's the crazy
Old
thing
Larry
about it.
Todd.
Yeah,
Is
he's
that
like
you don't
crying.
know who's lying, who's telling the truth,
Oh,
and so
it's
you're
so
stuck in
good.
all
And
these
Kurt
storylines.
Russell cries every time he's like reads it.
Yeah, and then what's her name spits on it. Remember?
Spits on it, and then
Spits
he
blood on the
punches
fucking
her in the
Lincoln
fucking
letter.
face
He's
and-
like,
I can't. Yeah.
But then you're like all these people, and they're all like snowed in this haberdashery, and who's who?
That movie, like that structure is my
Yeah.
favorite. That's like the thing, like any movie like that where it's like you're like everyone is forced in an environment and
Yeah.
they can't get out. Like if it was a zombie apocalypse and everyone's like
Dawn of the Dead.
like a Dawn of the Dead where everybody, because it's like you, or even The Mist.
You're
Like
trapped.
The Mist, they're all trapped in a supermarket.
Yeah.
And it's like all these, just to see the interaction of people, because it forces you to examine like how people are going to interact when they're surrounded by like terror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, that's not really that in Hateful Eight, but
Right,
they
but
can't go anywhere.
They can't
It's like
because they're
freezing
snowed
cold.
in.
It's
Yeah,
like a-
they'll
it's like a
die if they
blizzard.
go out.
Yeah.
And then just like the old dude, Bruce Dern's in it, like it's just like a
Yeah.
who's who of actors. Bruce Dern.
So
and
this
Walton
goes back to-
Goggins and
He's great.
This goes back to
Goggins, yeah.
Neil talking about how he doesn't see characters in Quentin Tarantino films. There's a lot of characters.
oh no, he
No,
meant
no,
that he
no.
emotionally like invest if they were anybody
Yeah.
to die.
Well, some of these, I mean, because they're coming back up, you kind of were emotionally involved with them.
I mean,
If you
I
think
like
about
the
it, yeah.
characters, but I'm just saying, like,
mean.
specifically that, like, that emotional arc of,
like you feel like they're a part of your family almost, like that emotional attachment to somebody where you're like, I need this person
But
to be protected
I think the
'cause I
thing
love
is,
them
like,
so much.
when they die,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, okay.
It's-
Like, I don't know, it doesn't move me, but then his films, you're saying, aren't.
Is
they
it
don't-
because
they
you
don't sell
expect
it
them
that
to
way.
die?
They're not designed
In
to
his
be
film?
that
You
way.
like-
I must be, because maybe
Yeah.
he just started out with Reservoir
I'm
Dogs
not
where
gonna
everybody's
invest with-
fucking dead at the end, except
Yeah.
like one person survives.
It's Steve Buscemi. Mr. Pink is the
Yeah.
only person. He gets out before they all go to
They all
shit.
kill each other, yeah.
Yeah, because you got Harvey Keitel, you got Mr. White's got the gun on Mr. Orange. Who's dying the whole movie with a belly shot, and he
Yeah.
finally tells him after he just killed everybody he knew and everything else, and
He's
everything.
like, "I'm a cop."
He's like, I'm a cop. He's like, are you fucking kidding me?
I just put my life on the line.
Yeah,
and-
I'm a cop, Harry. I'm a cop, Harry. I'm a cop. And then you hear the cops all come in and surround. Put your fucking gun down. We'll blow your fucking head off. You don't see the cops, and he's like, puts a gun to his head. Boom, 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 boom. And then the movie ends. Bought a coconut. He bought it for his dying sister. Hiding up. It's so good.
That's crazy.
Just like everything, every choice makes me excited. Like I'm like, yes, fucking thank you. Like just I never know what to expect, but I know it's gonna be great. Like the song choices and the acting and the lines they say and the angles he shoots from and like everything he does.
Yeah.
Just using that old lens that hadn't been used in decades for
Yeah,
Hateful
7
Eight.
millimeter, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the actual, like the only lens left. They found two of them, and one of them was a little.
Panavision.
Yeah, one of them didn't work.
Panavision?
Panavision.
It's a Panavision.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, every single thing is just masterful. Like the devil's in the details, and Quentin Tarantino's the devil. Like because he's just everything is just
In a
crafted
weird
perfectly.
way, he's like holding on to the past, like far more than most directors, and he's unwilling to like move forward.
Yep.
Which in a way is a good thing because it's like people that can go back. Like I know people today that watch movies, like enjoy Netflix and enjoy whatever Amazon Prime shit, refuse to watch a movie made before like 1980.
Before they were
or before
born.
1990 or some shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the
don't
fuck does
get
that
it.
even mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
you
not-
can't go back and watch, like, Citizen Kane? Or, like, no, I can't. I want to blow my brains out. It's so slow. I hate it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Fuck
Like,
is going on?
I'm like,
Which
I
is
hate
not
you.
even that-
I hate you.
Which
You're the problem.
they're doing another film. They're doing a film on Citizen Kane or the writer or something.
Oh yeah, they're making a movie about the guy who was the
Right.
Herman Mankiewicz or whatever.
Yeah, the writer.
Who's doing it though? It's somebody.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, but the director or the writer or whatever, they're doing a movie about the guy who co-wrote Citizen Kane, and him and Orson Welles went
Yeah.
at it afterwards, like saying who wrote the film Citizen Kane, and it's a movie about that guy, Herman Mankiewicz, I think is.
Yeah.
But who's the person who's doing it? It's
It's. I mean, person. Are you talking
the
about
the
actor
filmmaker,
or-
the filmmaker who's doing it is
It's weird. I don't know.
I forgot.
it's David Fincher. David Fincher.
David Fincher.
is doing
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
David Fincher's
Yeah.
making a biopic about Citizen Kane screenwriter Herman Mankiewicz. Gary Oldman to star in the movie. Yeah, so it's David, I think Gary Oldman's going to play the guy. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
David Fincher and Gary Oldman.
I'm excited.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, he holds on to the past in a way, but it's also like, yeah,
I love it.
he's proving that those styles and that shit from before
Yeah.
is still very much relevant. Like, he's fighting hardcore to keep film and the history of film relevant. And I
Got it.
like that, and I'm like, I'm with him.
Yeah, there was
Exactly-
a period
exactly.
where I went through and watched like all these style films because like after Grindhouse, like I went back and started to like
Yeah.
find all these old, those type of films.
Spaghetti
like the old-
westerns or
Well, not the spaghetti-
blaxploitation.
Yeah,
or,
like the blaxploitation type films and, those kind of
grindhouse films. I guess that's really a thing. That was the title. I think. They would call
Yeah,
it
yeah,
grindhouse.
they're
Yeah.
like these.
Slasher
If you go on
flicks.
Amazon Prime, they're like all those films are
Yeah.
on
Oh,
there.
yeah.
These
I
know
like
they are.
old '70s films
crazy.
where they're just like zombie lady
B movies,
stockings or
double
whatever.
features.
Yeah, this really.
I
They
think
all
some
have.
of
They
them are
all
like
have them.
great. They're like super hokey
Vex
and
vixens with villainous values.
Yeah.
and it's funny. You'll find like A-list actors when they were teenagers in
Yeah.
a lot of these fucking
Yeah.
movies. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's
Yeah.
like I came across some Tom Hanks movie where there's like a group of college kids, and it's like shot on like a camcorder.
Bachelor party.
No, this is like before. Must have been either before or after Bachelor Party.
Okay.
And it's like they all go into a cave, and it's like a murder mystery or something. Super
Yeah.
B movie. But yeah, no, I love that. And I was gonna say like the spaghetti western thing too. I went back and I watched the whole the trilogy. What is it called? The Good, Bad, and the Ugly trilogy.
Good,
Dollars
best,
trilogy.
Good,
Dollars.
Good,
Yeah,
bad,
the dollar
and the ugly.
trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like a few dollars more.
For a few dollars.
For a few
No.
dollars
I'm
more.
sorry. Fistful of dollars.
Fistful of dollars,
For a
yeah.
few dollars more, and the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, like watch those, and then went and just watched all these Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns,
Yeah.
and then when like Hateful Eight, it's like it just connects to all of that.
Yeah.
So I love that. When was the last time we saw a western in theaters?
No, there's been this.
This is
Great.
my argument
310 to Yuma.
about
But
this
it's like
Marvel
10 years.
saturation ruining cinema.
No,
Like,
actually,
I enjoyed Infinity
westerns
War
went out,
2 or whatever.
Went out of
Like
style
Endgame.
for a little bit in the '90s. In the '90s, westerns weren't touched.
No,
Unforgiven.
there was a
Unforgiven.
couple.
No, was it
Unforgiven.
late
That
'90s or was
92. I was Unforgiven.
there was
There
or
was a-
2000?
there was a time-
2000.
yeah.
It was the 2000s.
Westerns are very hard to make. Even
They're
now.
very hard, but
No,
now
like
they.
the Russell Crowe did a one with Kristen
310
Bale.
Yuma.
Yeah,
that
that
was
was great. I thought
2010.
that was
But I'm
really
saying
good.
it's rare, whereas they used to come out all the time. It's like it's hard.
It's
You have
hard.
to really have
It
an
was-
angle. It has to be
yeah.
a very specific
Wasn't there one with
director.
Ed Harris that came out?
Yes.
Like a
Westworld.
remake.
Westworld.
No, not Westworld. It was
True
it
Grit?
was- well, no, True Grit was.
Was- no, that was
what's
somebody
his
else.
name? The Big Lebowski.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff
Coen
Bridges.
Brothers did
Yeah.
that.
That was good.
But
I like
I
that too.
think-
I like both of them. I like the
was
original
great.
and that one.
I think that's the key of Quentin Tarantino is that he knows how to transition old style into today's filmmaking.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it good. He knows how to use those elements that we used to see in the 80s, the 70s, and
got
bring
it on tap.
and and bring them how to use those old elements in a new way today to still show homage
Yeah.
to that style, but look almost new and great. So
Appaloosa.
Appaloosa,
That was
right,
the one.
right,
Yeah,
that's
Viggo Mortensen. That's
right.
that's also a really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I didn't see it, but I remember when it came out.
Wow.
So the question is Quentin Tarantino a master?
Well, that's not the question.
No, I'm asking this now, newly. We've now got some time in between.
I'll answer
it.
after
can't just
Diego
say-
answers.
Okay, I'm gonna start.
okay,
Is Quentin Tarantino a master?
A master
I'm gonna
what?
answer-
Actor.
I'll just say, is he a master?
that's
No.
just
No,
a broad,
I'm giving
that's
you
broad.
I'm giving you letting you off the hook with that one.
No,
You
no.
can then apply it to whatever you want to apply it to. Is he a master?
Is he a
Is
master?
he a
He's
good
a master entertainer.
Fine. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
He's a master filmmaker.
Good. I like that. And I think he's
He
a
is.
master director.
I think he's a master filmmaker. To
He's a master writer, director, filmmaker. That's
to
good. Yeah.
to make
True,
a
writer,
film,
director, producer,
to
Yeah.
like,
start out
everything.
with a pencil and take it all the way. I mean, if you look at a lot of this,
Yeah,
his
he
film,
jots them down. He jots everything out.
Yeah,
He writes it all down.
He still writes
And
it
he
all
writes it.
down to put.
And then he
that
types it.
tells you how much he pays attention to details. I mean, this motherfucker is writing it and then erasing it with an eraser.
And then he's typing it up. Like he used to have a typist, and then he's typing it, and he's printing one page at a time.
It's
You
just,
know, it's
to say that he's a master filmmaker because that's how much details are important to him. So I give him that. I don't give it to him because he earned it, but
Yeah.
he is a master filmmaker to me.
It's funny when you think about like directors, like any individual that chooses that line of work on some level has a strong interest in telling a story and being that, like being the head of the creative control, like how it's shot, how, you know, to some degree who's in it and all that kind of stuff. But when you see somebody like Tarantino who like he's like the type of director who seems like he elevates the whole game.
Right.
Like a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of films that we've all seen where it's like, I don't know. I don't remember who directed it. It was some guy.
Yeah.
Did a great job.
Right.
I remember the movie. I remember the actors, but I may not necessarily remember the director because it was like a one-off. They did that one film that you loved.
Right.
And then, you know, whatever else they directed, or they stopped directing.
Right.
But Tarantino's like consistently writing and directing good stuff. Like people know who Spielberg is because he consistently makes good stuff.
Right.
People know who, you know, Nolan or whoever.
They've got a track record.
To compare them to, like Quentin Tarantino is a master of creating elements in this film.
And it's different.
And Steven Spielberg is a master of using elements in this film to the best of their details.
Yeah.
So he knows how to use the smallest things in his film to enhance his film, where Quentin Tarantino knows how to create those elements to be used in his film.
Yeah,
So-
I would say that.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So, anyways,
this is how they both can be masters.
Yes.
I knew Tarantino was different when I saw that thing about Inglourious Bastards where he's like, you know what I'm talking about?
choking out the girl.
What was her name? Yeah, the German actress. Is she
Uh,
German? I think she's German.
It's not Leah Seydoux. It's
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
So
yeah.
there's a scene where the she's being like killed,
It's the
and
yeah.
they had like another whoever the other actor was do it, and he wasn't like
Right.
he wasn't doing it for real because they're fucking filming a movie and they're not. He's not trying to actually
I
kill
thought that
her.
was Kill Bill. Yeah. But yeah, I guess it's that. Go ahead.
No, that was that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so Tarantino was
had
like,
to
"Can
do
I
it.
let me, you know, can I do it? Can I, or should I show you or whatever?"
Right.
And so when you see it in the movie, it's Tarantino choking this chick, and he's like really choking her. Like you can see, like that's not CG, and I'm
Right.
like, this motherfucker's crazy. Like,
It's not, but that's a very easy way to just be like, oh, that's just what happened.
but it's like it's like that's how not like that's how far he'll go to make like a great movie, but like, you know, that's his. But yeah, basically, I mean, that's
he's like the shot needs to be right. Like it's
he's
not,
like-
you're not getting it. Like it's not being done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He has like a little bit of that Kubrick thing where Kubrick was famous for doing like 50 takes or
Right.
something,
100
or 100
plus takes. Yeah.
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 Of the same scene over and over different ways. you
Right.
know.
And the new Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'll have seen it probably by the time this podcast drops. Maybe you too.
Yeah.
But I'm going to predict right now it's going to be great. I'm going to love it. So
Well, I'm not going to do that, but
I have you not.
I have high expectations now.
There you go. All right.
I hope it's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be very entertaining.
Yes.
I don't know about best movie I've ever seen.
You can't listen to shit like that. No, nothing.
Dude, I haven't heard anyone say that about anything.
walk out of
Even
there saying,
Endgame,
"Were you
people are like,
entertained?"
it's great for people that are like into nerdy shit. Like that was the best review I saw
Yeah, you
about
can't
Endgame
listen to
before
that.
I saw. Like if you're into this Marvel universe or whatever, you're gonna love this movie.
Yeah.
They didn't say it was the best movie ever made or the best movie in
Yeah.
2 decades.
Right.
But this Tarantino thing, I keep seeing all these people from that Cannes
Yeah.
whatever showing they had
Yeah.
premiere, and
It's
they're
probably
just
going to
like,
be
it's
amazing. We're probably going to watch it though and be like, shit, it's so fucking good. But Once Upon a Time, you got 6 or 7 minutes
Trailer looks
standing
good.
ovation at Cannes.
Yeah.
You know, and he's done a further cut since then. He's edited it a little bit more. So,
Do we know how long it is?
He usually does about 2.5 hour movies. This is what he tries to keep them at. So
Yeah.
it's around 2.5 hours.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
That Tarantino, I mean, not
It's 2 hours and 41 minutes.
DiCaprio can't go wrong.
We got
Honestly,
that guy.
that's my like.
Even
Brad
if-
Pitt can go wrong.
So it's
Kind of,
2
yeah.
hours
Kind of.
and
He's
41
good. He's-
minutes.
In his old age,
2 hours and 41 minutes.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm expecting more from Brad Pitt. I
All
feel
right.
like in his old age, he's like tries less.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He looks like he
seems muted
good
in his
yeah.
performance a little bit.
Well, he's been through a lot.
But again, he's in a
Has he?
Tarantino film.
What has he been through?
He just got a divorce recently, last couple of years.
The whole thing with his kids. It's the
His
whole thing.
kids, yeah.
But
I'm supposed to care. This guy's like a multimillionaire who was married to Angelina
a father,
Jolie
they were such
for
a- That has
nothing
years,
to do
and
with
I'm
the
supposed
money.
to
so
care.
shitty.
It
You
has
were so
nothing to do with
shitty.
the
Like that had
money.
anything
I have
to do
no
with.
sympathy for these
You're
actors.
one of these people. What the fuck is your
Has
problem?
it has to do with a person that was
This
a
is that-
father to a kid.
he's
Now
not-
didn't have
Nothing
access
to do with being a
that.
millionaire.
They took his kids away from him?
No, well, there was a big
That's-
battle with.
that's not- yeah.
Wasn't he
Yeah,
like
I
cheating
don't
on
know.
Angelina? Like
Oh my
banging ladies
God.
on the side? That's what I've heard.
You are so terrible. You need to be slapped just for a living, okay?
Why
We need
are
to stop. All right, we're gonna cut this before
No,
we start.
DiCaprio
rumors.
can do no wrong, but Brad Pitt can definitely do wrong.
Love me some DiCaprio.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. Let's get to the podcast with the number 2. Before we start rumors, we're gonna end this. My name is Diego D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Ezekiel 25:17.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.